and welcome. My name is Sue. I am a film journalist and I work for Red Carpet Entertainment. We are an online film magazine based in Berlin and Los Angeles. And today I'm really excited because I get to talk to Janvier, founder of Minute Shorts. It's a short film platform because everyone has a story to tell. And I would love to start right away with following question.
Okay.
Janvier, what is your story?
Before Minute Shorts, I was a filmmaker, but before I can give you a bit of a background. So, Congolese, French, and also I'm based in London. But before Minute Shorts, I was working in the film industry for I think 8 years. So producing and directing. I mean, I can go on a long. This story I can take it for I don't know talk for an hour, but I'll keep it short. So before Minute Shorts, I started off producing film when I was 20, and I made a TV show pilots called Made in Brixton. If you've seen Made in Chelsea, have you guys heard of Made in Chelsea? It's basically a reality TV show about people that live in Chelsea. Chelsea is a very luxury, expensive area in London. Then at the time, I was living in Brixton. Brixton is in the south of London. And Brixton is about, the area itself is very rich into, Jamaicans, Ghanaians, and other people from a different part of the world, and that's what Brixton is. And then I thought I wanted to make something that shows different side of London that not many people know around the world. So I made this TV pilot show with some friends. I was actually 19 at the time, and by the time I finished the pilot show, and I sold it to Channel 4 when I was 20, and that's what got me into the film industry. Then after that, everyone thought I was a filmmaker because how does a 20-year-old kid can make something then sell it to Channel 4, which is one of the biggest TV channel in the UK. Then that gave me the confidence to start making films. Then I worked for anyone, BBC, Channel 4, Vice, you name it, loads of big companies. But then after a while, you don't get tired. You want more challenge. So I worked in the film. I was producing, directing for 5-6 years. Then after that, I thought, what if there's a platform that can highlight, short films, because short films is something that a lot of filmmakers make, but they make it as a stepping stone to make the big films. But then the interesting thing about short film, they're amazing. The original story, they're very, very, very creative, but there was not one specific platform for short films, like Spotify. The way Spotify made it easier for everyone to discover music. Before that we had YouTube, you can listen to music, but it was hard to discover music the way you do on Spotify. So then I thought, what if there was a platform that, the way Spotify made it easier for people to discover music, and there's a platform that makes it easier for people to discover short films or discover these new amazing filmmakers. And that was the idea. I was 25, 26 at the time. And then I convinced my business partner because my business partner is the tech guy, so I convinced him to join me in this journey. And we launched the first app in 2019. And then here we are. We're just not an application, we're not a whole platform. So we do have an app. We're also on the TV channels with Samsung, and also hopefully we're planning to distribute on different other smart TVs like Apple TV or these other companies. And also we're gonna introduce ourselves in the transport industry, planes, trains. So we're gonna be everywhere so people can discover these amazing films.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
Thank you.
It's just 3 years, like 2009. What the hell?
Yeah.
But I would like to go back
Even
again.
back? Okay,
I have like 2 questions.
Yeah.
First, as a 20 years old, how
Yeah.
did you approach Channel 4?
Yeah.
And how did you convince them? I mean, where did you get the skills? How good was the pilot?
The pilot is amazing. it was trending on Twitter in London.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did. So the trick is, to go back, I was at uni, and I was doing advertising at Brighton University, but then I was always interested in film or writing or shooting and camera, and then. The idea, it was quite strong. So I thought, what if, because whenever you speak to someone from outside of the UK, you ask them, what is a British person? They always they give an example, Downton Abbey. They give an example of something very, very kind of Queen that nobody in London speaks that nobody in London experienced that. So then I wanted to kind of like to show people outside of the UK what the other side of London is. So the idea itself is quite, simple. Like show people what the other side of London is, right? And then in terms of the skills, I'm a big believer that to make something great, it's a collaboration thing. So you don't have to know everything. So I was lucky, kind of surround myself with loads of creative people at the time. I convinced a friend of mine who's a cameraman. So he was an amazing. At the time he was 5 years older than me. I was 20. He's 20. I think he's 25. So he's already working in the film industry a little bit. So he used to camera assist, and he has access to camera. So I wrote a script to him. I said, hey, here's the idea. The script probably, I read it back, it's not great, but it was enough to convince the idea was good. So it wasn't about the script, it was more of the idea was good. So he believed in that idea. He believed that this is an amazing idea. And then I got him to become a cameraman. I convinced him, I spoke to him, I said, hey, we're gonna make this TV show and you can be my camera person. And then we in terms of the budget, we just literally, I was 20 at the time and I used my university loan for it. And so my advice is if you believe in something, this is you kind of have to sacrifice. And then, so I managed to, so the way we end up approaching Channel 4 is interesting. So when we made the pilot TV show, we approached Channel 4. So I had another friend of mine who worked for Channel 4, but he was an assistant of assistant. So I asked him to show the TV show, pilot. When I say pilot, it's a tester of a TV show. So it's not the finishing product. Then I asked my friend to show the pilot show to one of the executive director. He showed to the executive director. The executive director said, no, this is rubbish. They don't want it. And then the power of social media. So what we did, we we made a trailer out of the pilot show and we put on YouTube. And then we then contacted a lot of local newspapers and bloggers, magazine and stuff. And we send them the trailer. We say, hey, there's going to be a TV show called Made in Brixton, about Brixton, and we sent it to these local Brixton newspapers, and then they posted on their publication, and then one thing led to another, big publication like the Sun, the Evening Standards, Huntington Post, even BBC Radio, they picked up the story, and they posted it was in the national newspapers, and then everyone thought this is like a mass. So the funny thing is, so when these big articles, big publication, they wrote this article, they made it seem like there's a big production behind this, but then it was me and two other people. I was 20 at the time, so then the trailer, it started, a lot of people started watching the trailer and it went viral on Twitter. So at the time, so this is like in 2012 maybe, I think maybe 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. So to have 50,000 views on YouTube, it was considered like a million.
Yeah, but I mean, which time frame are we talking about here? From this is rubbish to it's gone viral.
No, so basically, when we first approached Channel 4 for a friend of mine, they didn't want it. So Channel 4 came back to us after the thing went viral. Mm. So then the guy, the executive director, he reached out to me. He said, do you want to talk about it? I was like, yeah. And then, he came after that, it went viral. But then the reason it went viral because if you see, the trailer is still online actually. It's called Made in Brixton trailer on YouTube, you can find it. So at the time, 50,000 views, it was considered like almost 1 million views. So then the reason it worked because a lot of people that related to it, people from London that related to it because they can see themselves in that. Mm-hmm. You can see this is like what London is actually experiencing. So you can go to Brixton, you can go to the it wasn't like the Queen going in a horse, whatever. It's more like people, actually real people experiencing a real thing. And then so I think that's what the trailer told that story. Mm. And then I don't know what happened. It just went viral on Twitter and people started talking about it all the time. And then I think after that, I've got approached by loads of production companies for me to work for them. And it was quite funny because I was 20, I wasn't really that experienced. So I remember after that, I started shooting even adverts. And I remember I got flown to LA actually to shoot an ad for, I think, Dove or something. I was 21 at the time and I found myself in this massive set of 200 people. And this is like, 8 months ago, I was working with 2 people and then I was like 200 people. So it was like it's a lot of kind of like fake it till you make it. So I was like, because I knew my vision's clear, it's really strong. I can do it, but I didn't have the skill to do it. And I believe that, you know, if you give me time and opportunity, I can deliver. And that's what kind of happened.
How did you feel? Like, how did it feel?
So I think at first, so the funny thing, so I think when the thing went viral, it felt like I was getting pranked. I thought it didn't feel real. Then I think even till now, I think most of the things, sometimes I find myself in a situation when I don't know, I sometimes feel it doesn't feel real because I don't know, I think a lot and I don't actually, I don't know.
There's something, it's called the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Can you relate to like, okay, where does all this success come from? Did I miss something or are the people wrong?
No, I think most of the time I tend to find myself in a situation where I think of something and it happens, then I'm surprised it happened, then I find myself, then I have to quickly learn how to be in that position. For example, when I was directing from, like I said, 3 people, sets to like 300 people, in my head it's like, oh, I want to direct one day and to become in a position where I'm directing like a whole crew of 300 people, then I was there like in 8 months. Then it was more of like, okay, now I'm here, I have to perform. I have to make sure like I learn the craft, I learn the skills, and I have to perform. Similar way when I'm running a business, I don't know, a year ago there was only like 4 of us. Now I think there's 12 of us, and we're doing something with Samsung, all these other big companies. And in my head, I was like, oh, this might happen like in 2 years, 3 years time, and it happens so quickly. Then you almost have to adapt. Also, when you adapt, you also have to make sure like you're also performing at that level, and it feels weird, but it's just life that you kind of have to and also like if you're gonna think of something, you're gonna wish for it. Once you get it, then that means you have to get it done. That's as simple as that.
Absolutely. Sometimes I'm a little bit embarrassed of mentioning it, but when someone tells me something like this, that you kind of thought about it and then it happened, I totally believe in such things, like when you manifest something, everything that you do subconsciously leads to this goal.
I agree, but it also think comes down to like I always tell people that be careful what you wish for, because whatever you wish for, once you get it, then you have to actually perform. And also one thing I wanted to make it clear, it's not so much about accidental stuff. So there are loads of planning behind it as well. So for example, like even planning like us having a TV channel, that was in plan. So we put out in the plan, we say this is what we're going to do, and this is the reason behind it. The only thing I'm trying to make it the difference is sometimes you wish for something to happen 5 years time or 3 years time, and it happens sooner than that. That means you need to basically learn the skills and get it done. And also like always tell people, be careful what you wish for, because you're going to get it. Then you have to like then put your work in, because the bigger the stuff you're doing, obviously, the more it requires of your intelligence, requires more of your time, it requires more sacrifice.
Do you feel like it's still a good pace?
I think it can be more. I don't know. I feel like I'm really. I think since the beginning of this year, I feel like I am where I am. I think I'm in a good pace right now, but I think I need more challenge. You
know, I just met you, and I started getting a feeling for your personality, and I'm wondering how you actually are, like your personality when you have an idea. I can imagine that you are so passionate about it, that you're like trying everything to convince people around you, and you're trying like make it happen as fast as possible. Is it true?
Yeah. So, for example, I came here in Berlin, I think like on Thursday. So I came with like 2 of my team member, Thea, who's our creative producer, event producer. So she does produce all our events, and Fernando, who's our partnership director. It's funny. So I came on Thursday. I met maybe like I was there for like maybe the first few hours, and I think the next day I text Thea. I say, Thea, we're gonna have to have film screening events here in May. So I think when that day comes, I think everyone that works with me, they'll tell you like there's no time to wait. So when that day comes, we try it out, and also when we try out something, we know it might not work in some cases. So there might be stuff like fails, but I'm not scared to try something, and that means I'm not scared to fail. So if something's gonna fail, it's gonna fail. But if you don't try, you never know. So I don't actually think I have like a fear of not trying something. So I'll try anything. If it's the right, if I feel like it's the right time to do it, I'll try.
Did you fail?
Like
Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah. Julian, who started with me at the beginning, he told you literally there was been so many failing, to the point at one point we nearly even like to close the business, and but I think it's a fun because I think so if you focus so much on like the failing itself rather than the lesson, then you're looking at things differently. So when we try something, there's always alternatives like this might not work, but we're not looking at, oh, what if it fails? We say if it doesn't work, what can we learn from it in order to make it better? And then I think because of that and my brain personally, because I'm always training my brain, then it makes me less scared. So, but to answer your question in terms of failing, yes, so many failings, so many ideas that we wanted to do, whether it's like the application, the TV stuff or the events. And some ideas that we wanted to do, sometimes you fail because something is not ready yet. So that's what we understand. So we bring something to the world, then the world's not ready. I mean, for example, I can throw one idea out. Jalen, don't kill me for this. So for example, let's say so we have this idea which we're gonna bring at some point when the world is ready. So like
Sorry, it sounds like we're so ahead of time. When the world is ready.
When the world is ready.
I'm going to drop this idea.
We're going to drop this idea, but I'm going to mention it here because we're trying to test it out, hopefully this year or next year. So we can connect our application to like Uber. So if you order an Uber and then the journey of the Uber, then it automatically gives you a film to watch that lasts you that same length of the journey. So let's say your Uber journey is going to be like 10 minutes. You open Uber, then it recommends a bunch of films that's going to be 10 minutes. I have one film 10 minutes long, or 2 films that's 5 minutes long, or 4 films that's 2.5 minutes long.
On my flight back home in LA, I mean, you keep watching movies, and I found myself on both flights. I found myself checking the duration of a movie because we had like an hour and 20 minutes until landing. And I was looking for a movie that was just like 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I can totally relate to it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, so honestly, it's gonna be life changing. So that same thing, we're probably gonna try to roll it out in transports as well. So essentially, it will be because the thing is, I mean, if you look at, I don't really want to get too philosophical about this, but it's like time is like precious. So I think what we're trying to do, we're trying to save people's time. So that way you're wasting time. You're not wasting time looking for something. So you almost spend the time you actually want to be entertained. That's the time you'll be entertained. Because what tends to happen is that when you turn on Netflix or Amazon or YouTube, you spend a lot more time scrolling. Then at some cases you even stop scrolling. You're like, let me just watch whatever. So you end up watching rubbish. But then if this one is like okay, I've got 10 minutes. You go on an application, you say 10 minutes, it gives you 10 minutes, you watch your 10-minute films and you leave. That's it. And I think because time is precious, we don't want people to waste time on browsing, but more time to watch stuff.
Great ideas arise from problems, actually, you want to solve. Can you remember the moment where you felt like, this is really a problem and I need to solve this problem?
Yeah. So the idea for Minute Shorts, actually, it came from like two things. So when I was working in film, as film producing, directing, two things happened to me. So one, I made a short film. I sent it to a film festival. I sent to a bunch of film festival. And I sent it to one specific film festival I really want to get into. I'm not going to mention the names because I don't want to get in trouble. But they refused the film. So then I took it personal. It's like, well, my film is great, so why did they get refused? And I was like, if you're going to refuse it, I'm going to make my own platform where everyone's film is going to be there. So everyone can be accepted. So that was the motivation, initial motivation. I don't know if that was
That's
driven.
Bold.
I don't know if that was driven by my ego, but I think at the time I was quite hurt about it, and I was like, I'm going to make something so then the film can be accepted. So we're going to almost democratize. So everyone's film is good, so we're all in the same place. So it's not selective that you only select the best film to go to a festival. So I wanted to make sure this platform, it allows everyone's story to be told.
Like everyone, this is something that I was about to ask.
Yeah.
are there any terms?
So even though I'm saying is a platform for everyone, but there's a quality check. For example, we want to make sure it's not another YouTube, in a sense of like videos of cats and dogs, weddings, and just anything. And this is like a platform for short film narrative films. So and there's also quality. We kind of prefer quality over quantity. So we're quite selective about the films that we show, because we want to make sure if you're going to spend even 5 minutes, 20 minutes of your time, you're watching something quality. So we handpick most of our films. We also work with other partners that are making amazing quality films. And also we work directly to the filmmakers, but we handpick the films. We see every single films. And in terms of like the criteria is, if a film is good, it's good in a sense of like we want to make sure that, so the way we do it, so the film we select, there's 2 criteria. So the first one is the idea behind the film. So, you know, sometimes you watch a film, it makes you feel something. That's what we look for. We look for that little magic of like, you watch something, you're like, oh wow. Whether it's horror, whether it's comedy, whatever it's like documentary, whatever genre, but you want to make sure that the film makes you feel something and it has a message behind it. That's the one criteria. The second criteria is from the technicality. So is it lit properly? Is the microphone, can you hear what they say? Is the shot, I don't know, clear? If it's not clear, is the artistic reason why the shot is not clear? So technically, we want to make sure like all the technical stuff is well, but then the other stuff is more of like just the magic, whether the magic is, whether it's making someone feel something different, yeah.
I have this question here. What's the aim of a movie? You kind of already.
Yeah, I think the way I tend to look at it, the aim of the movie is to make you feel something. So, but at the same time, there's 2 things. There's aim of the movie, and also what is the aim for the filmmaker? Why is he making a film? So the 2 things. So the aim of the movie, I think, is to make you feel something. But from the creator point of view, is I believe a filmmaker's their job is to tell story based on to like what is happening. I believe most of the films that I personally like, I think when a film is reflecting on the time. So let's say at the time there's certain things like, let's say climate change or whatever. So as a filmmaker, a filmmaker is an artist. So as a great artist, your job is to tell stories. And to be reflective of what's happening in the real world. So when I think of the greatest people that have done it before us, like Steve Jobs reflecting for his products, Nina Simone reflecting to the, you know, even Beyonce, I don't know, and all these amazing artists. So they told stories.
Because they are telling stories that everyone can relate to, right?
Yeah.
And I think everything that a person wants is to be seen, and I think that's somehow the same. Somehow you find yourself in the stories of other people.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits of the filmmakers?
So currently, so when we acquire your films, so we have different, we distribute it first of all, so then there's a different platform that we distribute on. So, so we have to answer your question properly, is like we have different platforms. So we have the app, our own app, which is the mobile app, and we also have it on the desktop. Excuse me, at the moment, our platform is free to use, but we're introducing a premium version of the app. So it'll be similar to Spotify. It's called freemium model. So you'll be able to pay a monthly subscription, and then you see all the premium films, short films, and there's also be free accounts which you don't have to pay, but there'll be adverts. So from the filmmaker perspective, the benefits that you get paid for streaming through our platform, and we also have our own TV channel. You also get paid for advert revenue. That's like from a filmmaker's perspective, is you get paid for your film to be on this platform, because most of our filmmakers that make short film, they get paid nothing. Short film does nothing. As in from a financial point of view, they don't really gain anything. But we're trying to make sure this industry, it becomes like a monetization industry, so then people can actually start reaping financial benefits from it. That's one thing. For the second benefit for the filmmaker is, we don't just have the platform as in the film and the TV and the app. Is also we do film screening events. These are real life events, also online events. So the purpose of it is to showcase or to celebrate the filmmaker's work. So Every month we get together, we showcase 6 film and events, and then we get the filmmakers to come down to talk about their film, how did it come across, and how did that day come across, how did you make it, etc., etc. So it's almost like you have your distribution, you also have a showcase of your work, and we also have a community of filmmakers. For example, all our filmmakers, whether they need a crew or someone to get in touch with, they email us, and we connect them to a wider group.
Kind of creating a community, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when people or filmmakers talk about their projects,
Yeah.
I hear following sentence, oh, it's just a short movie.
Yes.
Why do short movies have such a bad reputation?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get that answer from companies or film institution that did it before us, and I'm almost trying to change people's perspective on that one. I think for a long time, like I say, short film, it was used as a stepping stone. So it's almost like, I want to make a feature film, I'm going to do short film. But then the crazy thing about that is like when you watch loads of short films, they are the most amazing creative piece of work. So my question when I started we launched Minute Shorts is the question I kept asking a lot of big film institutions is like, why cannot this not be the end goal for some filmmakers? Then I think because historically it's always seen as that. So we almost trying to challenge that. We say, no, this could be the meaning of the end for loads of filmmakers. You can actually make short film as a living, but the problem with that, it doesn't have financial backing. So
Not yet.
Not yet. And that's what we're trying to do here. Mm. We're trying to make sure like financially it's financial backing, so there's enough finance in it to make people work and live on it. And eventually, that's sort of the reason we're distributing our platform to different places, like the smart TVs, soon in the transport business and different countries, because we want to make sure it becomes like a big platform, so then anyone around the world can access your work. Then the industry getting bigger, and it is a long-term goal plan.
There are 2 things that come into my mind. One thing is I just remembered my professor who couldn't stress more that a great idea can told in 1 sentence.
Yes.
Do you think that this can also be applied on movies? Like, do you really necessarily have to make a long film if you want to tell a story? Or?
No. Literally, I think there are films I've literally on our platform I've seen. It has blown my mind how someone can tell such a complex idea into like a 5 minutes long film. And you watch it for 5 minutes, you feel like you watch a whole film for like 2.5 hours. Because what short film does, it actually challenges the creators. Like now, I want you to tell your story in a very miniature way. And when you watch it, you're like, wow, how can you actually tell that such an amazing... Again, it's also the whole thing talks about, I don't know, it's the great package. Well, the great package something comes in small package, the best present comes in small package. So I believe that. I think like the best stories sometimes, or the best things comes in a small package. And I think that's the same with short films. Like they tend to be very, very, very straight to the point, and it's just an amazing piece of work. Yeah.
Also, you are trying to bring movies into public transportation or like onto the small screen.
Yeah.
A lot of people are mad about this because they say that movies have to be on a big screen.
Okay.
What do you think about it?
I think they both can coexist. I think we're living like in a world right now where, because of technology, and also because of like a lot of young people nowadays, when you speak to them, they spend more time on a small screen, and because of rapid social media, so that habit is not going to go away. Kids or young people, even some people our age, so they used to see things on a small screen. So instead of trying to go against the evolution of people's habits, it's like you almost have to adapt, and also like when you're adapting, then you're providing quality. That's what we're trying to do here. So we could try to do another TikTok, but I'm not saying TikTok's amazing, but then we're looking at different angles. So if someone's going to spend a lot of time in a small screen, at least we want you to watch something quality. And I think I've heard that before, when people say a big film belongs in a cinema or a film belongs in a big screen, yes, and also film belongs also on a small screen. So it all depends on someone's preference. And also nowadays, because technology, people have different tastes of things. Sometimes you don't want to see things on a big screen. You're like at home, you want to watch something, I don't know, on your way to work. You're not going to carry a big TV on your way to work on the train, so you can watch on a small screen. So I think when I heard that before, but I also say, you know, both two things can exist. It depends on someone's preference. Technology is evolving. People's attention span is shorter. They want to watch something just really quick, and nobody wants to watch. For example, nowadays when I turn on like I don't know, when I go on like Amazon or Prime or Netflix, something, and I see a film is like 2.5 hours, and oh my god, that switches me off. As I don't want to watch it because it's such a long time you have to spend in front of a TV, and that's why I think. But then there are some days I would watch that, but some days I wouldn't. So I think
it's about commitment, and also, speaking of attention, I realized that that my ability of focusing for a long time is just messed up.
Yeah.
And here's an embarrassing story. After, I think, in the middle of the pandemic, the theaters were allowed to reopen again for a short amount of time. And I mean, because of my job, I have to watch a lot of movies.
Yes.
And usually I would go to the theater, but also I have to watch movies on the screen on my laptop. And during the pandemic, I started like binging everything. I feel like I just finished Netflix and Amazon Prime and Sky and everything.
As you completed the whole Netflix.
Everything.
Wow.
It's empty now.
Yeah.
So I remember that I got into the theater and I was really excited because I love the atmosphere in theater and, you know, happy. And then while watching the movie, I realized that I kind of lost focus and I had the impulse of rewinding, like skipping back, you know, for 10 seconds, but it wasn't possible. That was the moment where I felt like, okay, something just changed.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we're experiencing at the moment. So it's like technology. Because the thing is, it's a weird one because we spend so much time in our phones. I don't know about you, but I've got this notification thing I set up on my phone where it gives me every week, this is how much time you spend on your phone. Sometimes the numbers is really horrible. You're like, did I just spend that much time on my phone? But then what's happening is, because we watch things not in a chronological order anymore. So sometimes you see a photo that was like 2 weeks ago. You see, before we used to see things as it goes on, but now because things are not chronological order anymore. So that means your brain can't register that. You have to watch something from like beginning to the end. Your brain now is gonna slightly start changing that. You can watch things in different slices. You can stop, you can pause, you can come back. But then all these things that, you know, technology is you know, influencing our brain, but certain institutions like the cinema, it hasn't adapted to that. So I personally think cinema should be something, the way cinema exists now is great, it works for some people, but it should be an alternative way to watch cinema. I've got an idea in my head, I'll propose to people when it's ready, but I think there should be an alternative way to, you can pause, you can stop, people can take a break, you know, so you can...
But is it a good thing? I mean, I love when I'm able to just leave everything behind and just focus on a movie. This is, to me, it's quality. Nowadays. It's like having your coffee in the morning and not checking your emails or, you know, just living for that one
moment,
thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, those two things can coexist. So the escapism can exist. So you go in the cinema, the lights are down, you stay there for like 2 hours, you focus on the film, that can exist. But then the same thing you talked about, you sat in the cinema, you're like, oh my God, you've got a 10 second, you want to pause it. So there are, I think those two things, there should be an alternative of things. I think we're living in such a complex world now where things shouldn't be just a one option. People maybe two options. So can I watch something in a more flexible way, or can I watch something more stricter way? So there should be both two options existing. And I'm proposing ideas, and we'll try it out.
What do you think? How is the future gonna look like?
Well, in terms of the film industry, I think short film would be in the forefront. So I think people. The reason I say this because, do you have any younger siblings? How old are they?
25.
The youngest is 25.
The youngest is 25. The other is 33.
Okay, cool. So I've got a younger brother who's 18. So whenever I go to my parents' house, I observe the way he watches Netflix. So the way he watches films would be his phone would be next to him, and he watches something. So he would stop, check his phone, goes on TikTok or Instagram. Maybe there's like another social platform I don't know that I import. So he goes into those platforms and he's watching film and on his phone same time. But he's doing both two things really well. And that generation of young people, I think they're gonna influence the way films should be told. It should be shorter. It should be bite-sized. It should be given to them. Just, for example, my brother can only concentrate for 5 minutes, then his brain goes somewhere else. So I think those generations, they're gonna start to influence the way films are told. And in terms of the film industry, I think, like I said, it's gonna be short films, and I think we'll also see a trend of diverse filmmakers, so diverse of storyline. And the reason I'm saying this is because technology now is allowing people from different parts of the world to tell stories. So nowadays, you don't only rely on Hollywood. Hollywood is great, but you have, Ghana, for example, they're also getting more investment in terms of the film industry. You have, in South America, Brazil. You have South Africa, and also Asia. For example, we did see with Parasite and Squid Games. So I think you're going to see more and more diverse storyline from all across the world. Because before we used to see only American storytelling, but then you're going to start seeing more different type of storytelling. Because I think people were really surprised about Squid Game because they're not used to see it on the TV. But imagine other countries like Ghana got some amazing ideas as well. Brazilians got some amazing ideas. South Africa and other Korea, so it's South Korea and stuff. So we're going to see more original stories that we're not used to. We're going to start seeing it on a big screen. That's
true. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the internet,
right?
Yes,
exactly. It gives everyone access. And also we can see more, women, filmmakers, producers. I think that's what we're trying to make sure that we do on our platform, it's a platform for inclusion. So like, for example, on our platform, 50% of our films right now is made by a woman. And then also, black and other minority group. And so that way we're showing that the world is for everyone. And also opportunity should be given for also women, black people, Asian people. So that everyone has a chance to tell the story of what they're going through.
In one sentence, what's the philosophy of minute shorts?
That everyone has a story to tell. I think we always go through that thing because I think storytelling, I think for a long time, it was given to one type of people. So, like I said, a white male Hollywood guy. But I think because of social media and the internet, you start seeing a lot. If you go on TikTok, young people, creatives, they're creating these amazing TikTok stories and stuff. That's TikTok, and also short films now. Loads of young people making short films that from different backgrounds, different age, different sex, gender and stuff. So I think with us, we're always we believe that it's storytelling. It should be told from all different part of the world, different type of people. And our philosophy, that's what everyone. We want everyone to have their story to be told, and everyone to have their story to be seen by everyone.
How many filmmakers apply, or how do you say it?
What's like submissions?
No, how many filmmakers send their movies? How do you say it?
So submitted.
How many filmmakers submit their short movies
to us?
To you, yeah.
The number at the moment it's actually I don't know the exact number, but I think we get quite a lot now and monthly submissions. But I think to begin with, when we started off, we used to go on the internet, Google films, themes, the areas and film festivals. But now we kind of quite lucky now that we're in a position right now we get hundreds of submissions in a month. Hundreds. I'm talking about 300-400 films.
Do you watch them?
We watch every single one of them. I watch them as well. So we watch every single one of them to make sure, like I said at the beginning, we want to make sure there's quality over quantity. So that way, from a user point of view, when you go into a platform, you're guaranteed to watch something quality. So we want to make sure that we check every single film that we get sent in. And if it doesn't go on our platform, we'll email you back and we'll give you the reason. So we say, hey, the reason this hasn't been submitted, it has been accepted because the lighting wasn't right or the sound wasn't right, or usually if it doesn't get accepted, it's usually technical reasons rather than the emotional reason. Because I think majority of the time, the films get accepted, because the emotional aspect of it is met. So it's that little magic thing is always met. But if not accepted, it's always the technical reason. And then we can give it a reason. We say, hey, next time if you're going to make a film, make sure the lighting is this, and then we'll be fine.
So you're actually giving feedback?
Yeah, we give feedback as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So from an active filmmaker,
Yeah.
you turn into a businessman.
Yeah.
But watching all these inspiring short movies, does it make you
Want to go back? Yes, I guess. I don't know, because I think right now my brain is not there, but I do actually, every once in a while, I do actually sit down and I write some ideas of films. Some of the films, I always say to myself, maybe in the future I might go back making films, but I don't think that's what I want to do now. And some weird way also, I think I've sacrificed my film career for this. So it's almost like a selfless thing to do. My love, it was making films. Even till now, because till this day, I still write films, ideas and stuff. But I think my brain has to be there. I'm one of the people, like, I'm not in and out. So if my brain is not there, I'm not going to do it. So right now my brain is like, I want to make sure this platform, it gets to the position where it's working exactly the way I imagine, or the team, the way we imagine it. So I'm 100% in right now. So I don't think I can be in and out on both two things. So, and also, I don't know, there's loads of amazing filmmakers at the moment, so I'm just enjoying watching films. Also, I'm enjoying, I don't know, I've got some ideas. If a filmmaker approach me, I can give them. I'm quite selfless about it. I think if someone comes to me, hey, do you have an idea? I can give them an idea, but I don't think at the moment, I want to make films, no. Go back and making films, no.
I saw that you are currently hiring.
Yeah.
How big is your team now?
There's 11, yeah.
And they are all based in London?
Yeah, we're all based in London, but we're thinking of branching out in Berlin or Germany. So we're looking at maybe to hire 2 people here as well. So like a event producer or content creators. So a content acquisition person, so a person who can find films, German films. Because we have seen some amazing German films, but we want to find more of these German filmmakers. So that way, I don't know, I think German films doesn't go as far as they should be going out. We're trying to figure out what's the reason for that. So that's what we want to establish, maybe a small team here. Then we can start working with the local people, community, film institutions to start making an actual, distribution of German films to the world.
Paris, London, Berlin. What do these cities mean to you?
Paris because I grew up there. London because I'm there now, and Berlin because this is where we're going to be. I have Berlin. I'm just got here, so I think I'm going to be here. I'm going to be traveling to Berlin quite a lot. I think Paris and London, these are 2 cities that are really fond to my heart. Paris, Saint-Denis, I grew up there. I've got a big family in Paris, from my dad's side specifically, and I love them all. I mean, I used to see them a lot, but then I think I'm quite busy now. But it's quite funny now you mention it. I feel a bit shy because I'm thinking, I need to actually go visit my family in Paris.
I see it in your face. Yeah. You're like,
yeah, and I need to go. I need to visit my family in Paris. I haven't been in Paris for a while. And maybe we might do some stuff in Paris as well, so like film screenings or, maybe, I need to go visit Paris soon. London, that's my home. All my friends are there. Loads of ideas came from London, and I'm really inspired by the city, even though I've been there for I moved to London when I was 12. And, it means a lot to me, yeah.
Yeah, here. Every country is different, luckily, and has its very own culture.
Yeah.
And so does the individual handling of making movies. What kind of cultures did you experience?
In Germany.
In Germany, everywhere where you went, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I've been quite lucky with my practice. Even before minutes, I used to kind of travel because of work, because filmmaking. So every country, they have their stories, the way they tell the stories and stuff. Obviously, Paris is like, there's like always like this kind of romanticness of everything. They always romanticize everything, and there's also loads of nudity, because French people, they just love to be nude, which is great. And then obviously London is London. The UK is, they have a very specific story. I think Germany, it tends to be very philosophical. They tend to very a lot of like a deeper meaning, a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And then the US is always like very kind of like glamour. Everything's like big. Mm-hmm. So the story will be just big. They never really do things like in a small, contained way. And so I've also been lucky, like, I was in Asia, in Japan for a bit, and then the Asian films industry is more of like it was always kind of as reflecting about what the world is happening. So they'll talk about, I don't know, different classes and different kind of like poor, rich, all this other stuff. So the Asian people, they tend to focus on that kind of culture. And then so I'm Congolese, but I haven't really seen how many Congolese short films. That's something I think I will, in some years to come, I'll try to invest in. And yeah, I think that's it. But then, just specifically, I want to talk about German films, because this is Germany.
This is Germany, and also it's Berlin. And it happens to be Berlinale at the moment.
Exactly, yeah. So I think the thing about German films, they're great. They're absolutely great, but they don't get seen outside the world. And like I said, German films, they tend to be very, very kind of philosophical. So, for example, I was watching, even for example, you've seen the series Dark. Mm-hmm. Amazing series. So I think that's an example of German type of films.
Do you think so? Because what I read about it was that the world just said, oh, Dark is so different, it's so not German. From my experience, I feel it's actually German. So if you watch loads of German short films, you get the sense like German people love to make films that are kind of like different layers of things. And the problem with that is like German films, it takes a lot for people to watch, because you have to like concentrate so loads of time. And then because other people they always find it very difficult. Do I sit down and watch it, or do I, because because of social media, people like to watch stuff quite passive nowadays. Passive meaning they don't like to think; they just want to watch something. But German film, it tends to be very kind of challenging to challenge your thoughts. I think that's what the German films are. But then the only thing about German film, they don't get seen around the world. That's the problem. That's what we're trying to come in to make sure we distribute it to the rest of the world. So what do you think about Berlin as a movie city?
It's amazing. Berlin is as a movie city, yes, it's amazing. As a city itself, it's amazing. I think there's a lot. It's quite funny. I was texting a friend the other day. I was telling him Berlin is like a blank canvas for creative people. If you're a creative person, you come here, you have freedom to just do things. And I think the only thing is I haven't really experienced that the film industry here. So that's why I'm going to be here quite often and really want to understand how the film industry here works. For example, in the UK, you have loads of film screening events every time. There's loads of film institution like the BFI, the British Film Institution. There's loads of the BAFTA. There's loads of all these other film institutions. They do loads of activities like talks, screenings, funding. They do loads of mentorship. So I'm trying to understand if those things exist in Berlin. So if they don't, we're going to try to start to set it up, because we really want to make sure we find just the most talented people here that can make films. If they don't have the access to make it, we'll help them make it. Yeah. And also, like I say, for example, if you walk around Berlin, there's all these empty spaces, huge space. We don't have that in London. So we're thinking about doing outdoor film screenings for the community for free. Huge projectors, people can come down, watch films, connect with other people. If you're interested in film, you can come. If you just want to come watch film, you can come. If you're also a filmmaker, want to connect to other filmmakers, you can come to connect with other filmmakers. So we're going to be really very active in here.
What I really like about you is that when you're talking about your company, I mean, you are the one who invented this thing, you know? You're always talking about us, like we are doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it seems like...
Yeah, I think I always say like it's a collaboration thing. I don't think I have enough skill to do everything in the business. I think the business that we run is it's a collaboration thing. So from myself, the founder, to Julian, to Reg, to Thea, Rob, Fernanda, Tilly, Oscar. I haven't forgot anyone else, everyone.
I hope you
Julia,
mention everyone, otherwise.
Julian is going to get... no, Julia as well. So Rob and everyone, and Manfred as well. So I think it's a collaboration thing. So we all get together every week. We say, okay, cool, what each person are doing. So like right now I'm talking to you. So Regis is probably doing something with finding the films, putting it into the platform. Julian is probably out there figuring out the technology stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't sit there, I'm not making everything else. So that's what I think it would be very selfish of me to say, I'm doing this. No, I think so there's us and it's also the filmmakers that are actually sending the film to us. So they also playing a part in this. Mm-hmm. Funke, for example, they are one of our partners, so they're playing a part in this in terms of the Samsung stuff. So I think it's always, to make something great is a team effort. So I think I always find it really weird when you see people say, hey, I am the creators. I know we're the creators because we're coming together every week, every day, making something happen.
We're almost done, but is there a short movie that became your favorite or other? Let me try to describe it differently. Was there a moment when you saw a short movie and you were like, yes, this is what I want?
Oh my God, so there's been a few of them actually. I'm going to mention the names as well. So recently I saw a film called Lost Ones. It's on my platform as well. Amazing. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the guy. So I'm pretty sure the guy who made it is quite young because the film is about basically a coming of age. It's really like a young film. It's the surprising element, the way, I'm not going to ruin it, but I recommend everyone to watch, called Lost Ones. You can also see on our Samsung channel as well. It's just, you know when you watch a film, you're like, wow, so the ending of it, maybe I should say, I could say a little bit. So basically, it's about this kid here who lived in, lived in the Midlands. So like the Midlands meaning Sunderland and Newcastle in the UK. Mm-hmm. And he's growing up, so he got a job in London. So he's planning to leave his friends and his girlfriend behind so he can go move to London. Then he went to a party with some friends, then something happened and I think got killed or something. But then so at the end then you see his spirit is leaving his body, but his spirit walking to the sea. But it was even though something bad happened to him, it's very, very kind of magical the way his body was leaving. I don't know, it sounds really weird, but it was told in a very magical way. So when you watch it, everything feels just a very kind of dreamlike. Okay.
Now I'm really curious. I'm going to watch it.
Watch it, it's amazing. So that's one film. And then there's another film recently, one of my favorite filmmakers, actually, this young guy called John Ogan. Mm-hmm. Please follow him. He's on Instagram, John Ogans, that's on Instagram. So there's two of his films, actually. One film he made called Wilson is basically about mental health. Mental health, I told from how basically guys, us men, we don't talk a lot about mental health. And then the film tells you basically when you go through the mental health, what actually happens inside your head. So someone comes to you, ask you, hey, how are you doing? But you might be having a really bad day. You have to put a good smile and say, hey, I'm fine. But then in his head, it's like, I'm having a really shit day. So then he told a story of just how men deal with mental health. But then the way he told it was just the most creative stuff. That was one of my favorite films I've seen 3 years ago. I even saw it before the platform started. I remember I saw this film, I was like, this is the sort of films I want to have on the platform. Then recently he launched a film called Hair and Beauty. We're actually going to debut this film, premiere this film on our platform in, I think, next month. But the film basically the whole film shot in one angle, told in a hair salon, and it's told in Croydon. So Croydon is in South London where it's kind of like a rough area. And so, meaning rough area, when things happen, when something really crazy happens, people are used to it. People don't get really shocked, whatever. So then the story, it was told, it's like one angle inside the hair salon, and then as the story goes on, you see things are happening outside the shop, so out in the streets, and then at one point these two guys start fighting, and then one guy, he just flew out of nowhere. He flew. Then it became very kind of supernatural all of a sudden. He flew, then everyone's like, oh my God. Everyone looked really surprised, and everyone's carried on. Then I remember that when I saw that, I was like, John, this is amazing thing, but what is that? Why is it something really random happens in the middle of the film? Then he goes, the reason for it, because in Croydon, he's seen so many crazy things, so people are not surprised anymore. That was the metaphor about randomly, because the film is told a very kind of normal film. There's nothing about supernatural until the guy flew.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then the metaphor behind it was like, because like he's seen so many crazy things in Croydon that when you see something crazy, you're not surprised anymore. And that was that. And I remember seeing, I was like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah. But then there's also been loads of films. Like there's a film called Stand By this girl called Charlotte Regan, an amazing film. She won a BAFTA with that film actually. And then there's been just most of the films on the platform I really love, but these are Stand By, Hair Beauty, and Wilson by John, and Lost Ones. These are like my recent favourites, and I keep watching them as well, yeah. And I'll send a list of films to watch as well. I'll send actually loads of links for you to watch.
Please.
Yeah.
2 questions left.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have created such a great platform, and also to have convinced so many people to work with you and to make actually your vision or your dream come true?
I feel kind of almost indebted. I feel like so I don't think so much about this is my platform anymore. So I think more of like it's ours, and I think specifically to my team, I feel indebted. So I feel like these guys, they almost like gave up. I don't know. For example, Julian, who works with me, is my business partner. I've asked him, like, dude, what is your dream? And they say, I want to make, this is my dream now. I was like, wow, so my dream became your dream. So almost I feel like I have to make sure this works to your standards, to what you want to get out of it. So I think more that. So every day I feel like I feel blessed, and I just feel like I want to make sure it works for everyone. Because before, when I started, I felt a bit selfish. I was like, oh yeah, I want to make sure it works at my standards. But then the more I'm working with people now, I'm like, yeah, this is, whether like Funke start working with us, we asked them like, so, I want to make sure it works for their standard as well. So it's less about me. Even though I came up with the idea, it's less about me, it's more about everyone else. And yeah, because also like, I don't know, in the future I might change my mind, I want to do something else, but I want to make sure this platform exists, that it serves everyone's dream, yeah.
So we have this beautiful hashtag. It's called Film is Love in German. And I would like to ask you to replace love with your own word. Like film is ...
Oh, okay. Oh. That's a really one. Film is... so, I'm trying to think what word I like. So I like... what's the word? When you... Curious. I think when you're curious, then that's when you think, you're trying to get things out. So I think film is curiosity. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think let's use that. I love when things don't also make sense at the same time. So film is curiosity, because I think when you're curious, then you're always thinking ideas. For example, the reason why Minutes exists, because I was curious, is like, why is it not a platform for short film? And I'm pretty sure when a filmmaker is making a film, it'll be like, oh, okay, why is it not, this story's been told, that's your curiosity mind is using it. So I think, yeah, we'll go for curious, and I know it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense at the same time.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.